want to cover something I learned in Unitronics Visilogic software concerning high-speed inputs. Uh, Normally, in the program before, we had some inputs here and tried to change them to high speed. These are regular kind of input like this, but it's high speed. And that's not the case because the scan rate in the net, the ladder view, is much slower than the rate at a high speed input can go at. So the proper way to do it is go into your hardware configuration for the particular model we're working on and set up the high speed inputs in here. So this, in this case, the high speed is on input 0. I don't have anything, could have a reset in input 1 if you wanted. And the data coming from input 0 is going to be stored in ML4 and can be used. So you don't need it over here in the program, but you can use it in the program, but you wouldn't use it as a single pulse catch type of thing here. So I can hook up the other camera in a second and show you an example. Okay, here on screen we have the Samba that has the high-speed input set up, and we have a VNC from the PLC that's going to send a high-speed PWM output over to the high-speed inputs on the Samba. So if I looking on the Samba at this footage count, that's ML4, and when I turn this on, it will fire the pulse width modulation signal over as a high-speed input. So you can see it is seeing the ML4 count, and the on the screen, the green flashing is kind of a symptom of what we were talking about earlier with the scan rate being much slower than the actual input, high-speed input, or in this case, high-speed output rate. So it would be an erratic kind of a flash. So to kind of recap, if we're doing standard inputs, you would use the input here like normal. In this case, it's just catching only this first scan, and we're incrementing the incrementer location ML2 one increment each each time this activates only on first scan. And so if it's still activated in subsequent scans, the incrementer does not go up. If you have something faster than about 20 hertz rate, so you need high speed, if your model is available with high speed inputs, when you go into the setup, it will show you high speed is available, and it's saying input 0 and 1. In this case, input 0 is set up as the high speed counter, and it's going to store the values from the counter in memory location, memory long 0. And so you don't use contact here because the scan rate is much slower than that. Again, the high speed up to 30 kilohertz, and the standard input maybe up to 20 hertz.